Good morning, Dave. I don't know why I'm like trying to hold back some tears a little bit. Dave's looking at me like, you don't even cry anymore. I think your heart turned into stone from last week to this week. Here's the deal. We are what? Day 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. 5 days away from Christmas. And are you ready? You're not, Dave? Of course not. Okay, so I don't even know what makes you ready, but here's what I know. I've been reflecting on Christmas past. And 123, and I'm so a Scrooge. My kids choose to call me something different. But anyway, so I was thinking about when my man and I had our first Christmas together. We had been dating for a little over a month. And I was, at that point, like all about the presents. Like seriously, all about Dave. Really, I was so... Oh, wait, we're getting to that. We're getting to the new perspective. So anyway, I was all about the presents way back when and then. And so I was so all about the presents that I made it, I think people put like a limit on what they spend if you're dating, right? Or even as spouses, like, what's our limit? Well, at that point, we had unlimited funds. And so at least I did. And so I just held Bob to a really high standard. And the standard was like, whatever I got, as many presents as I got, I expected him to get too, Dave. And so I would go shopping and I would say, I got 5, I got 7. And so I know every day he was back at the store trying to, keep up with me. I want to say that I had like 25 presents for Bob when we first started dating. I know, Dave, I tried to give the gift of presents instead of my presents. But anyway, I had so many darn gifts. But here's what I did is I absolutely ruined my Christmas day because I snooped around in Bob's townhouse. Yes. Well, he was at work one day and I found every single present that he got me. And I didn't only find these boxes from all these different stores, but I opened Dave, I swear I did. I was old enough to know better. I forget. So I would have been married to 1993 and I'm going to be 50. So what does that mean? I was old enough to have some self-control and discipline. But here's the deal. Like it was in the heat of the moment and it just seemed like the right thing to do at the time. And in retrospect, I absolutely ruined my Christmas. I will tell you, it was such a bummer for me because I absolutely knew everything that I was getting from my man. And I did tell him before we got married that I did that. I felt like I had to confess that. There's a lot of things I would not confess about my past to Bob because that would be on a need-to-know basis. But that, because it affected him, I felt like I had to totally 100% confess it. So here's the deal, though. I was all about the presents then. And now, Dave, you think I'm still, if you had to guess, would you think I'm all about the presents?
Yes.
You think I am?
Yes.
Dave thinks I'm so all about the presents. And so, this show is absolutely going to be all about the presents, but from a different perspective. So let's talk about that when we get back. You are journeying with Judy right here, 5 days from the day that Jesus was born. We'll be back right here on Lake 96.1. Good morning. Dave just said that song never gets old. It never gets old, but I'll tell you who's getting old, and it's me. Dave, I'm getting so old. But, not only am I older, but I am so much wiser. And Dave and I were just chatting a little bit on the break, and he said the reason he thinks I'm all about the presents is because I say that I'm all about the presents. But you know what? Speaking of the presents, I want you to know that I am so about the presents, Presence, way more than I used to be about the presents, Presents. I think that's how you spell it. Because I can tell you right now, I have the presence of my whole family in my home for Christmas. And here's what's so crazy is not only I appreciate it, but there's something about when they go away that they start to appreciate it. Chandler actually told us, since he's been home for his Christmas break, that he really wished he went to college closer. He said, I just really miss your presence. And as annoying as you are, Mom, he absolutely, yeah, he tells me to shut up a lot. Like, no, kidding around. He's always like, stop talking. And then when I start talking, he goes, sleep. It's a new thing. But anyway, so the deal is like he just said, it just reiterates the whole thing about presents, my presents. Now, Chandler's love language is gifts, and so he made it perfectly clear that although he missed my presents, he absolutely expects a lot of presents on Christmas Day. Now, he's 19. He just turned 19. But then there's Carter, who's 20, and he said, Mom, it's so not about the presents. it's so about just being present and being with you guys. And so I got to tell you, as a mom, that makes me just want to give him more gifts than the other one who wants the presents, Dave. I don't know. You know, there could be, because Carter's kind of manipulative, but there's no doubt about it. But there's something about the presents that matters to me now, because, you know what, I just don't take it for granted the way I used to. And now the gift of my kids' presents is the most important thing to me. And not only the gift of their presents, but Dave, they actually are, they're just totally different now that they've grown up. And you're going to see this when you have more and more children in your household, Dave. They fight a lot, and you wonder if they're ever going to like each other and if they're ever going to appreciate each other's presents. And I'm telling you that they do wake up and realize that the gift of somebody's presence is so, so important. So right now, my man and I give no gifts to each other, Dave. We have not given gifts to each other for years for Christmas. And we have a really generous relative, actually a couple of them, that send us checks, and we spend every dollar, Dave, every dollar that we get for our family, we give for our kids. And so I'm still kind of about the right gift for the right person. Like, it bums me out, man, if I give you a gift and I really thought about it and you don't even appreciate it. So that's not very Jesus-like, because Jesus gives unconditionally. He just gives you all the stuff you don't deserve, and he doesn't even care if you appreciate it the way I do. But I got to be mindful, just 5 days away from Christmas, that I'm really fortunate because of the presents that I have. But there's a lot of people who don't have that same privilege this time of year. And so, you know, there's people who are estranged from their children, or children aren't just here, people at war, people who are divorced, people who've lost somebody. But in that lack of presence, I just want to remind you about our show that we had, even maybe it was last week, that, you know, Jesus is the reason for this season, and he is Emmanuel, God with us. He is with us all the time and every time to fill up that space when we're feeling a lack of presence over something that we think, or someone that we wish was in our life that no longer is for whatever reason. So when we go buying gifts and thinking about the right present for the right person, I'm just praying that this season has been one for you, that the most important gift that you could give to the most important person on your list would just be the gift of your presence. And obviously that's Jesus. I hope he's the most important person on your Christmas list, and the gift of your presence would be what you bring him. But I would bet a lot that the people in your life would trade a present for your presence. Dave, would you agree? And so I don't know. I mean, it would be a lot less expensive and a lot less chaotic if we would just spend our Christmas season being so intentional and deliberate about being present, Dave. And one thing about my son, Chandler, he is present physically in my home right now, except he takes more pictures of himself, Dave. He never stops Snapchatting. You don't know that. You know what that is? It's a thing that... Yeah, he never, and so to me, he's really not even present. Like, he's physically present, but he's not, like, he sends them to his girl, like, it's Snapchat. It's so, Dave, you don't even know. Dave's rolling his eyes like that's a really dumb thing. How many of you do exactly that? The only reason I do not take pictures of myself is because I got way too old, way too fast, and I don't like the way I look at a picture, Dave. And there's nothing worse than when I'm going to take a picture of you and the camera turns on me. And it's like, who is that? Oh, my gosh. So here's the deal. We know this is season. The season is all about the love, the joy, and the peace and the hope that Jesus brings, right? We are receiving in just 5 days the ultimate gift from the ultimate giver. See, because God loved the world so much that he gave his son, and he gave his son so we would have this abundant life just filled with gratitude, not for what we don't have and wish we did have, but gratitude for everything that I'm grateful sometimes for what I got and what I don't have anymore in my life. So I'm wondering is like how we end up at the manger on Christmas Day worshiping Jesus with the gift of our presence, if like we're not being intentional and deliberate about that. Dave, you know that I am someone who is deliberate and intentional about everything and anything, right? And if we're looking back on, when Jesus was born and when he was given this, when we got this gift of Jesus, there was no room for him in the inn. Do you remember that, Dave?
I was the innkeeper at my church play.
There you go. Dave was the innkeeper at his church play. I love that. And so we're just so mindful of the fact that, like, all these schedules and we got to be making room. We got to be making room for Jesus all the time, right? So I like to give gifts. I like to spend a lot of money. I like to do things, but I do that with this huge expectation. And so I'm asking you, if Jesus were to give you this gift, any gift, what would you want it to be?
Your presence.
Yeah, would you think so, Dave? Yeah, and the question also would be, what gift would he want from you? What gift would he want from you? Would it be the one he wants or the one that you want to give him? Because sometimes they're two totally different things. I know my kids give me Christmas lists, and I don't want to give them that, Dave. I think it's really dumb. I think the thing they want is dumb and unnecessary, and I used to spend a lot of time giving other gifts, and the reality was they wanted what they wanted because they wanted it, and there was no substitute for what it is that they wanted. And so I just want you to be aware of the fact that whatever it is that you're giving Jesus, if it's not what he really wants, you can't be holding back the gift, Dave. You cannot be holding back the one gift that Jesus wants and give him other stuff and think that that's going to be good enough, because the one thing that you're holding back is the one thing that he really wants. And here's what else he really wants. He wants you to receive the gift that he gives to you. And we all know it's so much easier to give than it is to receive. Isn't it, Dave? Yeah. Do you find it easier to give than it is to receive? But you know what? I always try to help people remember that being the giver is really a great thing, but if you love being the giver, then you deprive the person who's trying to give you something by not wanting to have it. So it's kind of the same thing. So I know that we give gifts to everyone but Jesus on his birthday, and that's not a very good birthday, Dave. Imagine Avery's birthday party. She got no presents. So it's Jesus' birthday, and he wants you to give. If I had to say three things he wants you to give him, I'm going to tell you what those three things are. So I'll tell you, I think if I had to guess, besides your presence, and if you can't give that, then let's consider giving these other things. I think Jesus would want you to trust him more. I think he'd want you to be just a little bit more obedient. And I think he'd want you to praise him more. And I'll tell you, we have three examples of the beautiful way that has been done this time of year. Because what if Mary didn't trust Jesus? Didn't trust God? What if Mary didn't trust God? There'd be no Jesus, right? What if she said, nope, not doing it? And what if Joseph was not obedient in the way he was called to come alongside Mary? And what if the shepherds didn't go see Jesus? This would be a whole different day. We would be having a whole different, there'd be no innkeeper for real or for play. You know what I'm saying? There just wouldn't. So the gift of your presence is all he's asking for. And these other three things would just kind of be the icing on the cake. But your presence is the present, right? That's the fact. So here's the deal. I want you to think about on the break, what do leaping lords, French hens, swans swimming, turtle doves, partridges doing something, pears in a tree, what do they have to do with Jesus? I'm going to tell you when we get back. You are Journeying with Judy right here on Like 96.1. And I thank you for the gift of your presence this Christmas for me and this beautiful show. And to the Cutest Country Auto Group, who gives us the sponsorship for the show. We'll be back after the break. I'm all fired up today, Dave. I don't even know. Merry Christmas. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I talked about this, I think maybe 2 Christmases ago, but I think it's worth revisiting because we hear that song over and over again, and I don't even know if we hear what it is that's being said. Kind of like we're physically present, but we're really not emotionally and mentally present. And so I am so grateful this season for the presence that I get to be with my family, Dave. That has such a different meaning to me now that my 2 boys are gone at college. And not only does it mean something more to me, it's like everybody woke up in my house and has a different appreciation for what it means to be in the same space and in the same place. And and just enjoying each other's shortcomings and idiosyncrasies and just finding a way to realize that that place is just really super holy, no matter how unholy it seems in my house, Dave, because we're not acting like Jesus a lot. You know that, right? Okay. So first before we went to the break, we were talking about what is the gift that you would bring to Jesus. And if you brought a gift, Dave and I both agree that the gift of your presence is really all he's looking for. But if you want to be like over the top, you can trust some more and be a little bit more obedient and certainly be praising him. That would be absolutely a beautiful thing. Okay, so back to this song. So this 12 Days of Christmas song. So the 12 Days of Christmas is not only a song, it's actually a period of time from December 26th to the Epiphany, which is January 6th. Yep. The song, The 12 Days of Christmas, is an English carol written during the time of persecution in England, which is kind of crazy. So Dave knows this, right? But I don't know that a lot of people know it. So the 12 Days of Christmas was a coded message that helped young people, young children specifically, learn the tenets of their faith and be able to recite them without fear of going to jail. Like, imagine that. That is so crazy to me. So each day has this hidden meaning concerning the teaching of faith. So the one true love that they keep referring to, Dave, in this song is God. The me who receives the gifts refers to every person who's ever been baptized. The pear tree is the cross and the partridge is Jesus. I love this. Christ is symbolically portrayed as the mother partridge. Dave, is that like the coolest thing ever? Yes, I love it. Okay, so hear me out because I don't have a lot of time, I don't think, left. But the partridge in the pear tree literally refers to Jesus on the cross, okay? Here's the other symbols in the song, and I hope you find them as fascinating as I do. The turtle doves are the Old and New Testament. The French hens are the Trinity, which is not me, myself, and I. See, I used to think I was the Trinity, but someone informed me, like in 2008, in 1993, I was the Trinity, me, myself, and I. And anyway, so now the Trinity being the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, okay? The calling birds are not me yapping. It is the four Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And you know that prayer I always say, Dave, when I drive. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, bless the roads we travel on. Okay, so the 5 golden rings were the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Love, love, love that. And also that resembles the 5 wounds of Jesus and his crucifixion. Love it. Okay, number 6. 6 geese a-laying were the 6 days of creation. Remember that? God, created the world in 6 days and he rested on the 7th, which, if God can do that in 6 days and rest on the 7th, I don't know why I can't order a pair of shoes for Nike, Dave, in less than 70 minutes. I was on hold for an hour and 10 minutes trying to order another pair of shoes. But you can know that I didn't only get free socks, free shipping, and a free return label. I got like 20% off my order. They know me by first name at Nike. I think I'm like the post office person picture at the Nike. I am that person at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I am definitely that person at Nike. But anyway, so number 7 is the swans swimming were the 7 gifts of the Spirit. Like, we can just pray to get those gifts. I love it. 8 maids a milking are the 8 beatitudes. 9 ladies dancing are the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit. 10 lords a leaping are your 10 commandments, my friend, which are commandments and not suggestions. Let's pay attention to that. 11 pipers piping is the faithful apostles. Remember, 1 betrayed Jesus. Remember that, Dave? And then 12 drummers drumming are the 12 points in what we know in our Catholic faith, which is the Apostles' Creed. So I am totally digging this. So I got to just remind you that your presence is the present. This Christmas and every day. Like, the miracle starts, and when you're on board with that miracle, being mindful of the moments that Jesus gets to spend with you and you get to spend with him, it just changes everything, Dave. It makes for you the same thing that happened to me, which is in 1993, it was all about you thought I was going to write a poem. Yeah. I was not. I don't even think I have a poem. I think that this song is enough of a poem. So it's like when I was back in 1993, it was all about me. It was all about the presents. And now I can honestly say, as much as I do love to open presents, I love to get presents. I love to give presents. The better gift for me is always the gift of your presence. And I dig that. It's the gift that I get every Sunday when you journey with me. It's the gift that I get when my kids come home from college. It's the gift that I get when I get to see Dave once a week. Dave, no, Dave's making this face like, can you please wrap this up?
No, that's not that.
What are you thinking? What is the face you're thinking? Does this show make any sense whatsoever? Tell me why. Get on this microphone. Tell me.
We only do have a couple of minutes, but no, you're right. Presents, we get it. We understand. It's a way of showing appreciation. But you know what? That's going to be in the back of a closet somewhere and on a rummage sale table and at Goodwill. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as we get older, we appreciate the experiences that are associated with the holidays than whatever is under the Christmas tree.
So, and I dig it. So thanks for piping in, Dave. My Christmas prayer for all of us as, this journey comes to an end today and we approach the birth of Jesus, which is the reason for the season. I just pray that your senses are heightened to see that which is not visible, to hear that which is not audible, to sense that which is not tangible, and believe that which is unbelievable. I just pray that, God teaches you to sort through the messes of this season and stay mindful of God's presence in your life, and that you return the same gift back to him. So stay tuned next week, because Dave, I'm going to tell you, what I'm going to tell you about next week. So as we approach the end of the year, Dave, we got to be talking about resolutions and stuff. So next week, we got to talk about your personal purpose, your vision, your values, and your mission, because 2016 is going to be a great year for some of you. I hope for all of you. So thanks for choosing to journey with Judy this Sunday morning. I wish you a blessed, merry, happy, healthy, and maybe most importantly, holy Christmas. So keep it hot, honest, open, and transparent. Peace out.